Alright, so now what we need to do is to open up that project in your favorite editor. I'm going to be using VS Code, so I've had it open already. So you can see it says edit the source folder and edit the app.js file in the source folder. But before I go on, I want to explain the concept of the single page application. So single page application means that your project literally has one page, but based on what you want to render, that is what is going to be rendered to the user. So React deals with things on a component based level. So if we head over to the public folder, there's a file called index.html. This is the bootstrap. So this is where all our application boots from. So if I change this and I say learn React and get rid of the app, save that, come back and you can see we have learn React over here. So whatever you this is the file where everything is loaded from, and this is actually where everything is being loaded, which I'm going to explain very soon. So we have this div with an ID of root. So whatever is inside of this root, if I type in something now, I say this is my file and I save that, you see that nothing actually takes place, because when React now renders the whole thing, it overwrites anything that is in this root file, this root div. All right. So let's see how that works. So if we head over to the source folder and we head over to app.js, you can see we have this learn React, edit this file to and save to reload. So exactly what is here is what is being typed in here, and you can see that this actually has a HTML syntax like, but it's actually called JSX, so JavaScript and XML. So it's not, you are not actually writing HTML, even though it's mimicked to be as if you're writing HTML, but you're not actually writing HTML syntax, you're writing JSX. In fact, once I hover, you can see that this is a JSX attribute. So you can see there are a couple of things that changes here. We have class name instead of the generic class that you know, and there are other things that changes which we're going to look at later. Alright, so just to make things fun, I'm going to get rid of everything here, and I'm also going to get rid of the logo and the style.css. I'm going to render a h1, and at least we'll use the standard hello world. And once we save that, there's a hot reload already attached to this application, so we should see hello world in the browser. So you might be wondering, where is all this coming from? So this is the app component. So when you have a function and it starts with an uppercase, it's tagged as a component. So this is coming from the index.js. So this is where everything is now routing from. So to make things interesting, I'm going to get rid of everything in this file. Once we save, we should see nothing in the browser. All right. So to make our app really fun, so I'm going to retype everything from scratch. So just to give you that feel. Now the first thing you need to do is to import React. Now there's React and there's React DOM. Now I've said this a couple of times when I'm addressing some of my students. I tell them that there's a reason why React and React DOM are not in the same package. So if in fact if you head back to our, okay, that has been overridden with the server, but I would have shown you that when we were creating our React app, it's installed React, it installed React DOM, and it installed the test suits using the CRA template. All right, but that React itself is the baseline for a React application, because you might have heard of React Native. It actually uses the same React that we're working on. But now for it to be suited for the browser, they created another package called React DOM. So that is specifically just for the browser. So if you're writing native app, you would install React and you also reinstall React Native. All right. So that's by the way. So let's recreate the whole process, and so you can get a feel of how it works. So let's import React from the package React. Then we import React DOM. So React DOM for document object model from the package React DOM. Then finally, let's import our app component that we have here. So we just import app from, since they're in the same directory. All right, so we just say app. All right, so now the next thing we need to do is to render this component to the browser. So this app component, which is our base component. So in order to do that, now the render accepts two things. First of all is the component and the where to. So where do you want to render that component to? So you say react DOM dot, then you call the method render. And we want to render the app component. Now we don't call it like this. We type it out as if we were writing a normal HTML tag. So we say app and self-closing. And where do we want to load it up? In our document, in our root ID, right? In our HTML file. So the document that gets element by ID, root. And once we save this now, head back to the browser, we should see hello world. Cool, right? Yeah, so this is cool. So whatever you want, you can actually rename this file. If you want, you can rename it to custom, and you might also want to rename the file. So let's just rename it to custom, and back to the index page, you just rename it to custom. And once we save that, oh, well, we did it twice. Save, and yeah, so we get our hello world back. So to prove that it's actually working, so let's say hello world, and we can say I am learning React. Save that, and we get I am learning React hello world. Alright, so at least you get a feel now. I know we have not done anything interesting enough, but at least you get a point about writing JSX, which we haven't covered much into, but at least you get a feel of how everything is working. So in our source folder is where we're going to put our components. Now what I love to do is to create a folder called components, and we just pass in all my components there, and I'll have my app, which I call custom, but that's fine. And to make things even more neater, I'm going to get rid of some of these things. So I'll just okay, so hopefully our app still works. Alright, so that's going to be it for this lecture. Let's continue rolling the dice in the next lecture.